Okay, hi, I'm Dino Elitis, and I help small business owners in any industry to get unstuck from growing their business. I'm also the host of the Facebook group, the BGS Collaborative, where we're sharing answers to get small business owners unstuck from growing their business. So the next problem that we want to talk about is your pricing is too low or the pricing may be too high, one or the other. You know, this is very closely related to sales, and this is another place where knowing your close percentage is absolutely critical. And again, you're not going to get that close percentage from your financial data. I mean, this is operational data that needs to be collected and kept along the way. And this is why that's so important. Sales professionals will typically tell you that a good sales closing rate is anywhere from 20 to 40%, somewhere in that range. Okay. Now, this isn't always, this is a general metric stick. Okay. This is not, it may be different. You have to check within your industry to determine what it is, but usually it's somewhere in that range. And if it's outside, if you're closing outside of that range, then it's probably a pricing issue that's causing the problem for you. If it's across the board, if it's just one sales person, it may be a different, but if you aggregate all your sales together and as a company, you're outside of those parameters, then you probably have a pricing issue. If your close percentage is too high, then this is indicating that your pricing is too low. You're closing more deals than you should, and you're leaving money on the table as a result of that. And so you want to make sure that you can correct that problem. Now, a lot of people will say, and I'll give you an example of this. I had a service-based customer a number of years back that, we were having some revenue issues. They needed some more money coming in the door. I looked at this. Their close percentage was up in the high 50, 60% range, that it varied from month to month, but that was about where they were at. I said, look, we got some definite room in here to increase pricing. It's an easy strategy to bring more revenue in quickly. And he was uncomfortable with it. And, we didn't move forward. We tried some other things. We moved, but eventually once they began to see the metrics the operational metrics could help them, I was able to convince them to really kind of do something there. So I asked them, I said, next month, what I want you to do is raise your prices by 5%. So they did it. And guess what? There was no change in the close percentage. So I said, do it again next month. So now we're 10%, well, more than 10% because we'd already raised it by 5%. So we're like 11, 12% in that range, higher than we were originally. And I said, you know what? I said, we're going to do it again because we still haven't had any change. Once we got to that 15%, it came down. It still did not come down into the range that it should have been, but it definitely came down. And we saw some, we saw it come down into that, low 50s, high 40s range or whatever, which means that, they were still a little low in terms of where they were. But the big impact from that is, if you think about for years and years when they should have been raising their prices, and these guys were not, they were making $500,000 to $1 million in revenue a year. So you multiply that times 15%, and that's all profit because we didn't do anything other than raise the price. So it wasn't like we were doing more work or we needed more resources or more employees or anything like that. Okay, it was just a price increase, nothing more, which means that 15% would have gone right inside of his pocket. Okay, so this is why this is such a critical metric. And again, your close percentage doesn't show up on your financial statements anywhere. This is information outside of your financial data that you need to keep track of. And this is why it's critical in order for you to know and to make sure that you've taken account for those things in some way, shape, or form. So that's all I've got today. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope to see you in the collaborative soon.